Okay, so um, you know, I reviewed the information on the Kyle Rittenhouse situation. I know a lot of you guys have been wanting me to talk about it for a while. It's a very bizarre and rather complex thing. I'm not going to show any footage on here because it's a rather graphic. So I'm just going to go over my own stuff. You could find the footage yourself if you really want to, and you could review it. Um, so let's kind of start from the beginning. My understanding is that Kyle Rittenhouse went to Wisconsin so that he could, basically take part of like a local militia um, to defend businesses and property there. Now, I know this is people's first point of contention. A lot of people are like, well, lives are more valuable than businesses. I understand that. I do think that generally speaking, that's very idyllic. Um, the existence of business, the ability to work and provide for your family, very much it should be, is perceived by a lot of people as just as valuable as life. If you don't have the money to support your family, of course you're going to feel threatened as an individual. And so I understand why they're there to protect businesses. You can make the argument, well, you get a bailout, insurance, yada yada yada. It doesn't matter. For a big business, they can take the cut, but they're going to be down for a period of time, which means that people aren't going to be at work for a period of time. When it comes to smaller businesses, they simply can't. They don't have like the additional profit to roll over until they maybe even get anything that breaks even, like a bailout that breaks even. On top of that, there's like a loss of business factor while it's down, as well as like an increased violence factor. It's a whole thing. So I understand why people are protecting businesses. Now, I also know that Kyle Rittenhouse is getting praised by some very less than savory groups that they support him. They're calling him hero. He's not a hero. He's a kid, a dumb kid. Let's just be honest. He's a dumb 17-year-old who crossed state lines to defend these businesses. He should have never been there. The specifics on the gun, it's such a weird thing. I think that the only thing that he may be facing is the potential of being under the age of 18 and having a firearm, right? We could probably have a conversation about gun laws here. So we're kind of going to look at this, I guess, you'd call it more from a moral perspective here, less of a legal perspective and more of a moral perspective, okay? Now, it's important to note that while it is not legal for a 17-year-old to open carry in that state, it is legal to open carry in Wisconsin. And I say this for the context that based on that understanding, people who see him with a gun should have the understanding that the simple existence of a gun does not equal escalation, right? Because people would make the argument that, well, he had a gun, so he's instantly escalating. By just having a gun, tensions are raised, and he's escalating just by having the existence of a gun, right? Fair point if it was in a state that wasn't open carry. However, in Wisconsin, it is open carry. So based on everybody's perception of him, they should be, especially if you're from Wisconsin, they should be under the impression that he was there with a gun legally. Do you understand? Because it is legal to open carry in that state. It was a known about militia. You understand my perspective. Now, when I see this situation, I saw both situations. The first, there's two different situations that happened here. The first was the immediate, we'll say, transgression, right? So an individual, I can get his specific name here. That would be rather intelligent for me to do. Right one. I just want to get the guy's name. I want to get his name specifically. I think his name is Rosenbaum. I just want to get his name. I just want to be like very accurate about it. For some reason, I can't find this fucking name. Yeah, so let's just, anyway, the first situation, it's Rosenbaum, right? So basically, when you look at the video, this individual Rosenbaum escalates the situation, goes after him. Rittenhouse does his best to de-escalate, right? He runs away, he disengages. Rosenbaum throws something at him. Rittenhouse continues to de-escalate. Rosenbaum continues to escalate the situation. So, from a moral perspective, Kyle Rittenhouse defends himself by shooting back. Okay? I don't know if he says shoot me N-word. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. I don't remember hearing that. But from watching the video, you can make the reasonable assertion that Kyle Rittenhouse did his best to disengage before shooting. Okay? It's like easy 50 feet of disengaging before he shoots. Okay? So, again, from what we saw, Rosenbaum chased after him. Rittenhouse dodged him. He then throws something at him. Rittenhouse continues to dodge. The guy continues to aggress. Kyle Rittenhouse shoots back and defends himself. Okay? So I would say, based on what I've seen, and I'm not going to show it here because it's inappropriate, he seems to have, I'm not even going to say seems, in my opinion, it was in self-defense. Now, your argument, I don't know if you're being serious. So if somebody I don't know if you're joking or not. I said, why do you have to shot? Just fight him. When it comes to this situation of like hand-to-hand combat, I just feel like that's a poor example, right? If you have a gun and somebody's going to continue to aggress at you, again, we've already established that it's legal. That based on the perception of the person aggressing, there was no reason for him to even think that the firearm was there legally. You understand what I'm saying? So there's no reason for him to think that there was any threat of him having the gun, just simply having it, okay? I don't know why you would charge somebody with a gun. I just don't understand. The optics are just non-existent. But it is important that you're just memeing. Yeah. So yeah, I don't. There, from what I've seen, like Kyle Rittenhouse wasn't trying to be there to shoot people, because if he was, he would have shot much sooner. But he de-escalated. He did as much as he could to disengage from the situation. The second interaction where more people were shot. My understanding was under the pretense that they saw him or heard him shoot. They thought he was somebody who was just an aggressor. If you watch that altercation, he again tries to disengage. He doesn't shoot anybody until they physically interact with him, and then he shoots in self-defense. He doesn't shoot randomly. He waits for people to get within the vicinity of him and touch him before he shoots. In my opinion, like, it seems like he's disengaging as much as possible. Again, self-defense. Now, you can make, and people do make this argument that, like, well, those people may have thought that he was a murderer. Okay. Understandable. But realistically speaking, based on what we see in the first situation, he was, in my opinion, acting in self-defense. Right? So, yeah. Honestly. Somebody asked if Kyle was black, would this have been talked about? I mean, let's be honest here. If Kyle was black, Kyle might have just been dead by now. Like, let's just be honest here. I don't know. I honestly don't see how the roles would ever be reversed. Based on like our political climate and our social climate. But like, if he was black, he would probably be dead. I'm just being honest with you. You asked, why was he there in the first place? I had mentioned before, he was there because he was there as like a part of like a militia that was trying to defend small business. Okay. So yeah, again, I'm not going to show you guys the clips. We watched it before. I'm not showing that to you now. But yeah, based on this situation, from like a moral standpoint, it seemed rather justified. You could definitely make the argument that a 17-year-old shouldn't have had a gun, and if he was 18, I don't know if he had the proper training when it came to gun usage. I really don't. But at the end, he demonstrated as much self-defense, self-control as possible, or as reasonably expected. Again, though, that the age is a factor. If he was not formally trained with a gun, there might have just been better tactics in general. There's so many variables. Overall, I say that he was justified in self-defense. Okay. Say thank you so much, guys, to all my Patreons, and a special shout out to my Papa XL Patreons. Without all you guys, I would just be some fat dude screaming into a microphone. So thank you so much, guys. Mwah. I love you all. I want Papa Gut to pee on my face, but just as a friend. There's nothing weird about that. I want him to pee on my face.